Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kings of Fantasy Football. I'm your co-host, Pablo, and here's my co-host.
Leo.
So, on today's episode, we are going to discuss waiver wire targets for Week 1. Had a lot of great games for Week 1 of the fantasy football season. So we're going to dive right in and start with quarterbacks. So the first quarterback that I would target, Leo was really praising him before the season started. So if you did not draft him and he's available in any of your leagues, I'm talking about Justin Fields. He's 60% rostered. Week 1, he had 218 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns against a really good Steelers defense. So definitely, I think he showed that he can be an every week starter in fantasy. So if you are that lucky 40%, then definitely if you need a QB, especially in two QB leagues, so in two flex, you should definitely have him rostered. So that is the first quarterback that I would target. What about you, Leo?
Yeah, I'm all about Justin Fields, that's for sure. Didn't think he was having that great of a game, but he came through for sure. With 3 touchdowns in total. So Mike, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but the quarterback I'm gonna go with, the pickup is actually Aaron Rodgers. He looks like he turned back the clock, and he threw for 244 yards, 4 touchdowns with no interceptions. Got multiple uh, receivers involved. The offense, it was a good game that they had against the Jets, and definitely someone that you wanted to pick up there. A couple other guys to take a look at. One is Daniel Jones. He had a great game against the Dolphins. Had 272 yards and a passing touchdown. He also rushed 7 times for 26 yards and 2 touchdowns. So had a very excellent game for the for the Colts. He has a lot of good weapons. You might want to temper your expectations going into week 2 because he is going to go up against a tough defense with Denver. Uh, so just keep that in mind. And another quarterback to think about, like if you're in a 2 quarterback league, super flex league, is Jackson Dart. He's Russell Wilson started for the Giants. Didn't look too good. Brian Dable's job's on the line, and I could see him turning to the rookie sooner rather than later. So if you're in a, like I said, super flex two quarterback league, someone to definitely pick up there and stash to get ahead of your league mates for sure.
Yeah, I never thought we'd be talking about Aaron Rodgers in 2025, considering what he's had to go through the last few years. 4 touchdowns. I definitely would target him. So moving on to running backs. The running back that I would target is 52% rostered, according to Sleeper. That's Dylan Sampson from the Browns. He was 8 of 8 as far as targets, 93 total yards. So it looks like he's going to be, involved in the passing game, even though I know his teammate is finally signed his contract, but from what I was reading, they don't know if he's going to start next week or if he's going to be available. I don't know if it was the coach or someone that said that, but 52% rostered, even if you can have him for one more week, someone to target, or if you need some running back depth. What about you, Leo? Who would you target for running backs?
Yeah, definitely. Like you mentioned, his league, his teammate, Quinshawn Junkins, he's actually 55.7% rostered, and if he happens to be available, I will definitely pick him up. He was drafted in the second round by the Browns, and definitely he's going to be involved now that he's signed. One guy to look at as well was Trey Benson. He had even though James Conner is still the man there, Benson had a very good game. He had a 52-yard run yesterday. Also, he ran 11 routes. He was involved in the passing game a little bit. So definitely someone to look at there. Um, another guy to take a look at. You know, even though you know, Pittsburgh, we thought that they were gonna have a tough defense, going up against the Jets. And everyone thought that Caleb Johnson was gonna be the guy to roster. He was barely used. He rushed one time for a -1 yard. Kenneth Gainwell was involved in the offense, and someone to look at in deeper leagues, and a couple other guys to look at. Even though Javonte Williams had, scored twice, he didn't do much. He only rushed 3.6 yards per carry, which is a crapola. I would definitely think about, stashing Jaden Blue. He's 43.7% rostered, and a little bit deeper league to get is actually Tyjae Spears. He's on the IR right now, and if he happens to still be available, I would grab him, and also stash him on the IR. Wait till he comes back, because I think if he was healthy, I think he was gonna definitely give Tony Pollard a run for his money with the touches this year. So, for a few guys to take a look at there.
Yeah, Benson took advantage, especially with that long run, and if he keeps producing, I think that backfield may become more split than what James Conner's used to. So definitely someone to target. Now, moving on to receivers. First receiver that I would target. I'm gonna be the first one to say that I was wrong when I said to not think that he's gonna be back to his normal self, and man, he proved me wrong. And it's Keenan Allen of the Chargers, 60% rostered, week 1, 7 catches on 10 targets, 68 yards, and 1 touchdown. So he just picked up where he left off when he had that really good year. And it's really weird because I thought Harbaugh was a run first type of guy. And maybe he kind of just is gonna flip the script on when he needs to. Sorry for Omari and Hampton owners, because y'all probably thought he was gonna be the bell cow. But it proved that he has the confidence in his passing game. So again, maybe he's just gonna do what is needed to be done to come out on top. But yeah, man, 33 years old and produce that in week 1. If I could pick him up, I definitely would. Who's your receiver to target?
Yeah, I actually have him in a couple of leagues. I didn't have the guts to start him because it was to see what he did, back with the Chargers. But definitely gonna contemplate picking him up, putting him in the roster this week. So I had one of the guys. I know you're kind of on a little bit, and that's Marquise Brown. He's 50% rostered right now. Xavier Worthy had a dislocated shoulder by unfortunately getting run into by Travis Kelce. I don't know if you saw that footage, but it was pretty wild what happened there. But unfortunately, that due to that, Marquise Brown, came in and I believe had 14 targets, and definitely, he's going to be the man involved here even with Rashee Rice out suspended for 5 more games. He's definitely going to be the wide receiver 1 in this Chiefs offense. So definitely get him there. I don't know. Do you have any other guys that you want to mention? I have a few more, but you want to mention someone else?
Well, the only one, and I'm not like, if I was a fab league, I wouldn't spend a whole bunch of fab. This guy is more of like a, maybe if you have like just a roster spot, 4 wide receivers. Or think of it like an honorable mention, Quentin Johnson. I'm not saying that he's gonna do that every week, but maybe now he's getting past his demons of not being consistent. And he's only 9% rostered, but I'm not doing it like automatically like It's something that you definitely want to think about because I don't know if he does that every week. Um,
Yeah.
I definitely agree with Hollywood Brown, especially in that offense. If Xavier Worthy misses time, but besides those two, no, no, I don't really have anyone else.
All right. Yeah, no, yeah, Quentin is tough to. I have him in dynasty, and I never even think about starting him at all. And to see what he did, I was like, wow, finally. Uh, hey, he was a first round draft pick. You know, he does have potential. He just could never catch the ball. So maybe, like you say, he got past his demons, and instead of wearing mittens, now he's wearing gloves and he can catch them a little better. So we'll see if that continues. Yeah, so I have a couple other guys to take a look at. One is Kayshawn Booty with the Patriots. I'm sure he's very available in most of your leagues. Everyone thought that Stephon Diggs was gonna be the man there, but you know, Mr. Booty actually had 6 receptions and led the team with 103 yards pass receiving. So if he's available, I would definitely think about picking him up in the deeper league formats. A couple other guys to definitely stash is if Brandon Ayuk happens to be there, someone to grab and put on the IR. That's kind of a thing that I talked about before. Keep those. Always use your IR spots. Those are uh, kind of like having a diamond in your pocket in your back pocket. Just try to you know stash people there and to use them later. A couple other guys to take a look at in receivers is Cedric Tillman, Jerry Judy. Didn't have too much of a great showing, and Tillman actually had more targets and more touchdowns than Judy and Joker combined. Which we all thought that they were gonna go a little nuts there. So he had 5 receptions for on 8 targets for 52 yards and a touchdown. So definitely a player to add. And the game tonight, we're kind of talking about our league waiver wire pickups before Monday Night Football. Luther Burden, he's a rookie with Chicago, 17% roster. So someone to take a look at there. See if he plays good well tonight, pick him up. And another deep guy is Calvin Austin, Pittsburgh Steelers. He was is starting with again with DK Metcalf and was involved in the offense. So definitely a few guys there to pick up in deep leagues there.
Wait, did have one more guy. I was like, man, I can't believe I forgot about him. Um, Now their their first game this week against the Packers did not look like the typical
Yeah,
Lions offense that we've been used to. But according to the head coach, they're going to try and get him more opportunities. So Mr.
yeah,
Tesla was able to score, obviously, not a lot of yards, but he's still only 28% rostered. So if the coach said that they're gonna look more his way, definitely someone to take a look at, or if you need that wide receiver depth. All right. So I did not know about Booty, so it's definitely someone I'm gonna look at. So moving on to tight ends. Now I'm not gonna say this is breaking news because we're not like Adam Schefter, but um, Kittle is expected to miss time due to his hamstring injury. So his backup, and I did not know his name until I looked it up, is Jake Tonges. 0% rostered, obviously. So I'm assuming he's gonna be, the next man up. I don't know if, they would move like anyone else into that, tight end spot, like unless they're gonna, move a wide receiver there, which I doubt. So, if you need a tight end who's, gonna be a starter now, the offense didn't look terrible. Um, so definitely someone that you want to think about if you need tight end, or maybe if you need a second tight end to add. as far as depth, pick him up and see what he does. So it's Jake Tunges from the 49ers. What tight end are you gonna go after?
Yeah, I never draft a tight end early, and I decided to draft Kittle in a couple of leagues, and now now I know why I don't draft tight ends early. Every time I go early, I get screwed. But that's fantasy football, right? As they say. All right. So the one guy, one of the tight ends, I kind of liked very much. He's a rookie. He, you know, he made some nice. Uh, I think he ended up in the top 10 in the position in his first game, and that's Harold Fannin Jr. with the Browns. I'm pretty sure he's available in most of your leagues there. He uh he ended up with um with 63 yards, and which was right behind Judy that had 66. So definitely someone to look at. Uh, I'm very high on him. I like his game. Uh, even though they still have David Njoku there, I think that he's gonna be involved in the offense going forward. Uh, so we'll see, if that's the case. But I think they're gonna start using two more double tight end sets. So someone to look at there. This other tight end, he's very athletic, but every time you think about picking him up, he kind of lets you down. But like I said, these are more tight ends in deeper leagues, like Jawan Johnson from the Saints. He had a very good game. He had 8 catches for 76 yards on 11 targets. So there's no one really other than Olave there that you can really count on in the receiving game and Kamara. So definitely they're gonna be throwing, because the Saints ain't gonna be too good this year. So and also obviously Isaiah Likely, even though he didn't play week 1, Mark Andrews didn't do too well, kind of non-existent. I think he only had one catch for like 5 yards. And prior to Likely getting hurt, there was talk that he was going to get more involved in the offense this year. So that's someone like to stash there if he's out. You can stash him in the IR position there. I don't know. Do you have anyone else that you want to talk about?
So even though, he's rostered a lot, but I'm gonna take a little bit of time to give a shout out to this tight end that let's just say, giving you shit about for owning the last few years. Is this the year, Leo? Is this the year of Kyle Pitts finally? Week 1, 8 targets, 7 receptions, 59 yards.
Hey.
So for everyone that drafted him super late like I did, maybe finally.
Hey.
Hey,
a tight end, all
probably
you can
the
ask
best week 1 he said, right?
Yeah, tight end, all you can ask for is getting double-digit points. So he definitely got that with that stat line for sure.
So yeah, I again I was giving you shit for years. Finally now when I own him, I'm like, okay, maybe Leo was onto something. Now moving on to defense. Now I don't know. Let me see what their roster percentage is. Oh no, they're definitely. So as far as a defense, to pick up, I think they did really well. Week 1, now don't know if they're gonna do this. Week 2 against the Packers, but the Washington defense looked good. Again, they're going against the Giants, but this might be more of a streaming defense. They're only 69% rostered, but they showed some good flashes. The following weeks is against the Raiders and against the Falcons. So, definitely someone maybe stash. Leo, what about you? Any defenses you're looking to add?
Yeah, there's a couple. The Cardinals. They play the Panthers. I think they're 61% roster, so they're available. Someone to Panthers didn't look too good last week, so someone to look at there. They play them at home, and the Patriots. I don't know what their percentage is it like 30% or something? Um, but if they happen to be available, I'll pick them up and start them against the Dolphins because the Dolphins look like like Chicago. So
um, they are 26% rostered.
yeah, so yeah, definitely
Yeah,
someone
I
to.
was definitely shocked. I had the Dolphins beating the Colts in my parlay, so I was really,
Yeah.
really surprised. Then another defense. They're 48% rostered, and that's the Packers. They did pretty good against the Detroit Lions, who's again known for one of the more high-powered offenses. And they're going up against Washington. They're still going to be at home. So who knows? Definitely someone that I would look at. And yeah, I mean, I agree with you. If you're facing the Dolphins, which I never thought I would be able to say that. With that, offensive minded head coach. Um, anyone else before we wrap things up?
One other guy to take a look at like tonight um is running back Kyle Manangdai. Yeah, he's a backup running back with the Bears. Like I said, the game hasn't been played yet, but you know, uh, you know, DeAndre Swift is always he has a chance to do well this season, but uh, he tends to sometimes fade a little bit on occasion. So someone to look at there in Kamanangai. And another deep guy is Rashard Smith. Now with all those with Xavier Worthy out, and Rashard Smith he's a backup running back, but he was also a receiver in college. So maybe there's a chance with I'm pretty sure he's available in most leagues. Uh, so someone there in deeper leagues, too, that you can grab there. Rashard Smith with the Chiefs.
Right. So that concludes our week 1 waiver wire targets. To everyone that won their matchup week 1, congrats for those still fighting for a win tonight. Good luck. So thank you for listening. Please give us a like, give us a follow. Share the podcast so we can get some more listeners. If you have any questions, you can reach me on X. That would be at ArchReaper, ARCHREAPR. Leo, where can they reach you?
Yeah, if you have any questions, fantasy football, dynasty, or anything else, you can reach me on X at Smooth1074. And I hope you guys can pull off a victory and good luck with those waivers this week.
Thanks, everyone.
Peace.